I stopped by a thrift store today and came across this rather pretty percolator. It's a Royal Rochester percolator that was made in Rochester, New York. As I grew up not too far from Rochester, I feel it's only fitting that I picked this up today. It's got a lot of nice touches. I really quite like the glass knob at the top. The spout is quite pretty, although this one, I don't know if you can see, has a little bit of a chip in the chrome, so probably won't be using it too much. The handle's attractive, and we've certainly seen this feature in other percolators, but there's a knob at the bottom that allows you to adjust the brew strength. It's clearly been used, but seems to have also very clearly been taken care of. I just opened up the filter basket, and as you can see, there was a note inside reminding the next person that it needs 6 scoops, which is a really lovely touch. All in all, the filter basket's a relatively standard sort, even without the 6 scoops. It's, your average filter basket. The stem is a type that we've seen before. It's got, kind of an elaborate bit of stuff going on in the bottom. I'm not exactly sure why that is. It fits into the bottom of the pot there. It goes well in. I'm a dirty liar. It doesn't go well in. It kind of sits on the top. This almost makes me wonder if this is actually going to work, if this is the right stem. In any case, as always, the filter basket goes over the top like that, and we'll see if it works. I went to fill this with water, and one of the problem that we run into, or that I see with this percolator, is there are no lines to tell you how high to fill the water. So I'm going to guess, and if the coffee is a little weak or a little strong, it may have to do with the fact that I didn't fill it with enough water. Based on nothing more than a guesstimate, I filled it to roughly between the 2 screws on the inside of the handle, or that holding the handle inside. As with previous times, I'm going to use filter paper because I kind of prefer the way it tastes with filter paper. I followed the instructions. I put 6 scoops in, and we'll put this on, put it in there. It won't be quite as pretty with the paper sticking out. I may end up cutting that off just so it's a little bit prettier. And we'll plug it in and see how it works in a minute. So this has the potential to be a little exciting. I've never plugged it in before. This is literally the first time I've done anything with this coffee maker. So hopefully it'll work well, especially when I plug it in. I am going to turn it to strong. I tend to prefer my coffee strong, and here we go. Well, it didn't flip a breaker or send sparks flying everywhere. I guess we're off to a good start. After about a minute, the dome seems to be fogging. We're getting a little bit of perking. And I actually have to admit, I quite like the shape of the dome. It's unlike anything else that I've got in my collection. So clearly it's working. Clearly it's heating the water, and we'll see how this goes. I have to say, this has a really pleasant sound to it. Some of the percolators we've looked at have been very unpleasant, but this one's quite nice. The cascading of the coffee as it comes up in that bubble is really lovely. Thus far, this coffee maker is definitely exceeding my expectations. We're about 6 minutes in. Just about the color I'm looking for. Not quite yet. It's interesting, the way in which the coffee comes up and then goes down seems to have changed as we're getting closer to the end of the cycle. It almost sits in the top a little bit longer. It's totally sitting in the top a little bit longer before it drips down now. And just like that, the light has come on, meaning that we're done. Let's check it out. Coffee looks good. And comes out and is in the cup at I guess at its hottest it was 176 degrees in here. Somebody in the comments told me that I really should be testing it inside the percolator, which I totally accept. I actually don't know exactly what the best way to do that would be, so we're going to keep doing it in the cup. But it came out pretty hot, 176 degrees. With a brew time of about 13 and a half minutes, the Royal Rochester Percolator is about average, par for the course. And to be perfectly honest, that's about what the coffee is. It's not great. It's not horrible. I think if I were to spend a little bit of time attempting to soak it in vinegar or at least let vinegar soak the inside, it's possible I could get some of the metallic flavor out of it. It's not a great cup of coffee. It's also not a horrible cup of coffee. And I'm wondering if the longer I leave it plugged in, it's going to keep percolating. It's been done for about a minute now, or at least the light's been done for a minute. And I've never had a coffee maker that keeps perking for as long as this one has. So it's entirely possible that the switch that turns off the heater doesn't work as well as it should, or possibly the heating element is very large, which allows it to keep perking for as long as it is. This is really quite surprising that it's still spitting some coffee up, which of course is going to mean any subsequent coffee that I make with it is even stronger. When I just unplugged it, my hand brushed against the bottom. Something to keep in mind if you have one of these or if you're trying to use one of these is the bottom gets really hot. Probably not hot enough to do any damage, but certainly hot enough to make children cry. So be careful with that. If anybody finds one, it's not a bad percolator, even though it continues to perk well after it's done. Certainly not something I expected. Oh, here it comes again. Maybe we're finally done. All right. Like and share if you feel like it. And next time I'll try to do that Bialetti for you.